our other son. We've traveled this way before, and there is much to be learned.
That was the Talking Alternative Radio Encore broadcast. We hope you enjoyed it. Now, for the live shows, professionals serving community, talkingalternative.com.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Secrets of the Sire. We talk comics, movies, TV, music, and pop culture every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on talkingalternative.com. We also stream it live on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire. And we've got a really great show for you today. I mean, there really wasn't much going on last night, nothing big, happening at all. So this is actually how well in advance we plan these things. Or actually, let me circle back for a second here. This is how well in advance we thought this election was going to be wrapped up. We book guests in advance, and we have the fine folks from Project Triforce on. This is Matthew Marone and John Peretti.
Hello.
Doing their thing. They're going to be sort of in the line of camera. John's off to the side, which is probably better for everybody. But when we're booking guests, we're like, hey, November 9th, what's going on November 9th? What a great time to talk about holiday merchandise that you could be picking up in the pop culture world, because we all kind of just figured, like, Hillary's got this in the bag. So we're going to maybe briefly talk about women president, this and that, but for the most part, we're going to go right into, like, just the holidays and how great everything is. So, well, we didn't see this coming. All right, but first, Secrets of the Sire is brought to you by all of our beloved patrons. We have dedicated fans Einar Peterson and Ashley Haikai, our program director Stephanie Dolce, our executive producer Steve Hovecki, and Brian Phillips, and as always, our Uber fan Christina Dolce. If you would like to donate to our Patreon page, go to michaeldolce.com. I am your host, Michael Dolce, Dolce. We've got our loyal fans, Espada Primera Stark, on the Periscope feed, which you can get to at the Twitter page, at Michael_Dolce. I've got our loyal troll, Fecal One. He's on as well, too. You got to love that.
I'm excited.
He wants to punch me in the beard. Oh, no, he wants to punch the beard off the flannel shirt guy.
Oh, Matt. That would be me.
That's just as good as it gets right there.
See, this is why I'm not a friend.
This guy's got a lot of rage in him. He was probably a Trump guy. Anyway, if you would like to get copies of the show outline before we go to air, or access to our library of interviews like Chris Cornell, Kevin Bacon, and more, you can go to our Patreon page. Just be a $2 patron. You get it every week. It's some really cool stuff. $5 patrons get an exclusive live feed of the show and private chat area where you guys can talk to us in studio and kind of hear all this good stuff here. So, gentlemen, we got ourselves a new president. It's President Trump.
President-elect.
Oh, that's true.
A lot can happen. Don't get presumptuous.
Doesn't it just kind of feel kind of dirty a little bit? Like, I don't like using the word President Trump. Like, it just feels like,
I don't know. There's been a lot of presidents I haven't liked, so.
But this one definitely has like a different tone and different vibe.
It's different. We're doing it.
I mean, basically the way I summed it up to people was I actually was happy to see her lose, and I was very sad to see him win.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there was no winners or losers in this.
That is exactly why last night happened. Did anybody? Well, I'm sure people did go out actually supporting somebody, but I mean, it was the best of the worst in a lot of people's minds. So I don't think you're alone there. But I mean, it was surprising. I think
So were you shocked? I mean, when you went to bed,
Yeah, well,
when you went to bed at whatever time, like, so I went to bed at
I fell asleep around 1.
yeah, I was in bed by like 8 o'clock because I've got an 8-month-old at home, and he's getting up at 4:30 these days because he's all messed up from daylight savings. So,
How dare he.
yeah, but I did wake up at 3:30 in the morning, and I was like, holy crap! Like, I can't believe he won. I had to wake my wife up. She's like, get the F out of here. I'm like, no, I mean, he really won. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I woke up to a text from my wife with the picture from Google saying that Trump is now our president, and I could have swore she was trolling me. I had no idea that this was real life until I started actually going onto the internet after I got out of the shower, started having breakfast, and I'm like, I almost spit the cereal out of my mouth. I'm like, this, you weren't lying to me. What is this? So it was, it was interesting, and then
say
you
I
got
was
the popular vote, which is a whole nother conversation. But yeah, we'll go with that.
I can't say I was surprised.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I mean,
Really?
yeah,
I mean, really
no,
though. I mean, I think every
no,
conversation.
It was in the back of everybody's mind, and I think just the fact that nobody was planning for it. I think in the past couple of weeks made me think like, watch it happen. like seriously, there was no plan B. Nobody had a plan B. The Democrats did not have a plan B.
Well, Bernie Sanders actually just went on record like a year ago and was like, the Democrats need to rethink this entire,
Right. As
election.
I said, the Democrats did not have a plan B. Bernie Sanders does. He's not a Democrat. I mean, it's interesting that the two people that started a groundswell this year was a guy who was not a Democrat and a Republican who was a Democrat up until however many years ago, whose children were still registered for Democrats and
Yes.
couldn't vote for him in the primaries. So, and that's now the leader of the Republican Party, and an independent socialist almost took over the Democratic Party. So, was it shocked? Why should we be shocked? Every single thing that Trump did, every single time somebody said, nah, it can't happen. And he did it. Nah, he can't win New Hampshire. He won New Hampshire. All right, but, he has no ground game. Definitely can't win the primary. Won the primary. Okay, well, his poll numbers will tank after the debates. I mean, they went down, but he never...
No, he grabbed women by the... And he didn't...
well, who among us?
that happens in locker rooms all the time.
But, like, every single...
Like bachelor
every
party
single
locker rooms,
step of
but
the
it's
way,
a totally different thing.
he defied what was supposed to happen. So why not
Yeah.
take that up to the end?
I mean-
and say...
This is a lesson to everyone, right? I mean, it's like...
That
you
is
can,
what's interesting. Like,
Yeah.
it's wild. Everything's out the window. The looking glass is in the rearview mirror now.
Mm-hmm.
We're through it. Now what happens?
Just don't use the nukes. That's my only expectation
Yeah.
for him. If he just doesn't use the nukes, we're in
Just
good
don't have to
shape.
show them where they are.
Yeah.
This is-
Who are they, though? Who are these people
The
that are
they?
they? The
Yeah,
admirals and generals that actually like...
I mean, he's not going to be running crap.
What is a president nowadays?
He's
He's
got-
just a glorified spokesperson, to some extent.
Yeah.
Right. He's not.
I agree.
I really don't think he knows. He can't. He couldn't have gotten this far by being dumb. Let's put it that way.
No, absolutely not.
I think a lot of people would say, like, oh, he's like a dumb idiot or whatnot. The guy's not dumb. The guy became president of the United States when there were a hell of a lot more people that should have.
Well, that's
gotten that role.
maybe not a hell of a lot more.
I'd say what 17. There were 17 candidates running for the
They were
Republican Party.
pretty terrible.
I'd say
right?
about 16 more of them actually on paper had better qualifications.
Yes, yes. Maybe 15 and a
So,
half. Ted Cruz, maybe not so much.
I think he's got to be smart enough to say, I don't know what I'm doing. Now, he luckily has a Republican, luckily for him,
Yeah.
has a Republican Senate and a Republican House behind him, too.
But they hate him, too.
But they can come in and say, okay, look, we know you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know you don't know what you're doing. Let us do this. You rubber stamp it. You get all the credit. We'll do all the work. We get our agenda.
But isn't that how Bush ended up messing up the entire country?
I'm not saying it'll be good. I'm not saying this is a way to run a country. But I'm just saying if I'm a Republican strategist right now, this is the way I'm thinking we're going to set up this vehicle here.
But he's, and for all of us joining, this is a pop culture show, and we will get into some cool pop culture. I'm actually joined by John Peretti and Matthew Marone from Project Triforce. They do awesome video game merchandise, and we're going to definitely get into that because we need a little distraction from this. The nice part is at least it's 24 hours after, well, maybe not 24 hours completely, but it's close enough after that we've had it at least sink in that actually happened. But, the one thing with Trump, though, is his ego is this could either be a really good thing or a really bad thing. Bush literally was like too stupid to know what he was doing, and so just signed off on everything. He just trusted everyone around him, and everyone around him just robbed, the entire
He was
world
too trustful, yeah.
blind.
Again, I don't think Bush was stupid, and I'm not a fan of Bush. I really don't think you can become president by being a stupid person.
He
you could
wasn't very
you
good.
could be
Like, he
a
wasn't very bright.
You could be a bad. I disagree. And again, I'm not saying he was a good president. You could be a very bright person and be a bad president. I'm not sure if you could become president and not be a bright person.
Well, we'll find out, won't we?
You know, not a good public speaker. Sure.
Oh well, yes.
but-
Well, that's without a doubt. So how did this happen, and how did pop culture make this happen? That's two of the things that you know, people are on everyone's mind. Is, you know, how did this happen? How did Trump get there? Well, I'll be honest with you. The pop culture take is exactly why he got there. So everything we kind of talk about, you know, the media, the TV, the movies, all this stuff, we made Trump a celebrity in the early 2000s. I mean, and John actually pointed out, he was actually a Democrat up until 4 years ago. So, you know, in terms of his political allegiances, he actually was to the left.
Again, it goes back to him being smart, because the Democrats were sort of, they knew where they were going. They knew where their future was.
Yeah.
This guy sees there's a vacuum in the Republican leadership. It seems like their base is pretty pissed off at the moment.
Yep.
I can be a hateful person. I'm a smart man, and I'm taking advantage of this opportunity, and all of a sudden I'm a Republican. So again, I actually think he's incredibly smart.
Oh, I don't disagree with that either, actually. Bush we'll disagree with, because I actually think he was just kind of average intelligence.
All right.
But you know, that's one of the things, though, that makes it so interesting, though, too, in this election, too. This is also a result of us making him a celebrity. I mean, us, like, as a universal, you know, he was an 80s mogul. I mean, he was an 80s guy. That was his time to shine. He came back because of Celebrity Apprentice. You started knowing about him. He actually started getting more investments. I mean, you realize, like, in the 90s, I mean, he really was in bankruptcy for most of the 90s. He picked himself back up again through becoming this, you know, reality show contestant. So he really built himself up through pop culture, which made it, you know, very, you know, we're kind of responsible for this, all of us. You know, tune in. You made him a celebrity.
For anything.
They,
y'all encompass
the
they are. I
Come on, John. Don't be divided. We're unified. We're unifying. It's everyone's fault. The other thing too, and this is something we've actually kind of talked about on the show, Sam. I have my trusty engineer here every Wednesday night. We do this. We do this on TalkingAlternative.com. We do this on Facebook.com. We do this on Periscope. We have our loyal listeners and our loyal trolls, which we appreciate.
How's that guy doing, by the way? Has he said anything about me?
No, you know, actually, the funny thing is, I keep flipping it back and forth. So I'm sure he's actually because we're ignoring him now. We're not giving him airtime, so I think he dropped off. But you know, he'll come back again in a little bit later.
Him a little bit.
The other thing too is we've talked about the PC culture and I look at PC culture and the attack on, you know, our characters, our movies, our. Basically, if you guys have, and I know you guys listen to every single show. I know you guys are loyal listeners and loyal followers. But one of the things we talked about was like the new Iron Man, you know. And John, you actually worked at Marvel when that was actually happening too, so it was kind of exciting. The diversity movement, right? And the diversity movement we've talked about. Diversity, great. Diversity's awesome. Diversity, changing characters we love. Not a big fan of that. Right. And take that to a larger scope. I mean, people in general now. You have a white, rural, lower middle class that has been under attack by this PC culture, by social media. You know, they're being called racists, but for supporting Trump. But I really just think that they wanted to be heard.
I will say, yes, I certainly, you know, it goes without saying, you know, Trump locked up the racist and sexist vote.
Oh, absolutely.
No but that vote alone is not enough to propel him to president. And I think all of the knee-jerk reaction this morning of saying America is such a homophobic, racist, sexist country.
It's a company now.
Is missing sort of the point of how this happened. And it's actually exactly why this happened.
Michael Moore actually said it, and he said it a few weeks ago.
I'm not a fan of that guy either.
No, I don't like him. That's the funny thing, though. I don't like Michael Moore either, but he hit it
Michael
on the
Moore
head.
has been saying, he has been a seer through this whole thing. He was saying it for months. He's like, he was 100% positive. This dude is winning.
Yep.
And yeah, he was right. And, but yeah, I think it goes back to that whole, you know, blaming this on an ism. It's like, what ism is it going to be next? That's the fault of whatever. And there is a large segment of the country that just got tired of that and being lumped into saying that they were part of that problem, and they didn't even know what that ism was. And,
right.
And so I think for a lot of people, you know, there was you know, people more experienced in politics, like, this looks like chaos, but too, I think the average American, it looks like democracy.
Right. No,
and
absolutely agree.
This was their chance to throw a Molotov cocktail into the whole thing and say, hey, you know what? We're pissed off. He's going to drive us off a cliff? Whatever.
Well, you couldn't have said it better. I think it's definitely democracy, and I think that if you guys have a voice, this is a live call-in show. It's 877-480-4120. So if anybody wants to talk with the folks from Project Triforce about the election, we are going to start talking about Project Triforce in our next segment. So come on back. But we are always welcome to debate the topics. And this one, look, this one extends beyond, just the normal Doctor Strange movie, which we'll talk about a little later today, which was pretty awesome as well too. So when we return, we're going to dive into some Project Triforce. Going to give us get a little distraction. We're gonna do a little distraction from the election.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Hello, I'm JC.
I'm Joan, and welcome to 21st Century Entrepreneur.
We bring education,
Insight,
knowledge,
awareness,
trouble,
craziness, and fun
for you, the entrepreneur who's looking to build your business
and your community. Listen every Friday from noon to 1 Eastern on talkradio.nyc. And you can tweet us at 21st CE Radio or Talk Alternative.
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. We do this every Wednesday. We talk movies, comics, TV, music, and pop culture. We've kind of wrestled the pop culture thing into the election talk. But we got two gentlemen on here today. They're from an awesome company. Well, not first gentleman. And definitely not the first gentleman anymore. We got John Peretti and Matthew Marone from Project Triforce. You guys do cool things, and we want to give our listeners a little breather from the election talk because it's crazy. But if you do want to talk the election, you can call on 877-480-4120, and John will talk to you, and Matthew will nod.
I'm good. Elections left field for me. I'm good. This is my hotspot, and I'm good now.
All right. So, Matthew, talk to me about Project Triforce. You guys, well, first of all, give us a background on the company for anybody who doesn't know. But, I mean, you guys are huge, so I can't imagine that people don't know. So,
we're huge.
Huge.
Good. So, thank you for having us. Project Triforce, we've been around since 2008, and we create one-to-one, full-scale replicas, statues and busts from video games ranging back from Tetris, over 25, 30 years ago, to some of the newer game titles out there like Battlefield 1, Gears of War, Halo, et cetera, Batman, Arkham Universe, et cetera, et cetera. And it all really started when our boss and owner, Rob, noticed that there was no really high-end... Hang
on. First of all, for John and I, who actually worked together at Wizard with Rob, that's just really weird for you to say our boss and owner, Rob. Okay, continue.
Yeah, it was great when I sold him a very expensive TV set at Best Buy, befriending him, and now I work for him. So it's very interesting how this full circle happened.
Best Buy is just the place to be. That's where the networking happens. That's good stuff.
Good old Magnolia section. So he pretty much, words from his mouth, there was no high-end video game collectibles at that time, and kind of still now we're one of the only real companies that do that out there. And it's crazy when you think of it that video games were seen for such a long time as a redheaded stepchild almost in pop culture, where a game like Call of Duty that just came out, or Battlefield 1, or Titanfall, in a matter of 24 hours or a week span, it will make just as much money, if not more, than what Avatar or Doctor Strange will make within a weekend, or its whole run within a theater. I mean, it is very, very popular and lucrative. And it all happened back in 2008 when Rob, big Gears of War, that's when Gears of War was huge at the time, still is now, and it's like, I want a Lancer.
Sure.
I want a one-to-one full-scale replica that no one else is doing, and pretty much that's where it all started. It was with the Gears of War license. He walked into Microsoft somehow. This guy from Queens.
No,
and
that
sold him
I
on
can
getting a
totally
license.
believe that. See,
Rob's got the gift of
Rob's
gab.
got
He
that
could-
gift. Rob,
He
it's
could
not.
talk
It's,
his way out of a genocide.
guys, no, come on, guys.
You're being ridiculous. Yeah, this,
We-
this is what you're going to do for me.
See, this is the best part. See, is Rob actually had another engagement. He was supposed to be here, so we can rip on him all we want. Oh, I can rip on him.
Rob
See, that's
is
the
getting
best
a
thing.
haircut. And, and that's not a euphemism.
No.
Rob's getting a haircut because we all have to go to Canada tomorrow.
Stay there in Canada.
To Montreal.
Perfect timing, by
You
the
know,
way.
real funny story too. Coming down here, I got into the city like in lightning time, and there was still a line getting out of the city. So I feel like that's indicative of the entire.
Something's happening.
Yeah, something's going on. All right, so you mentioned Gears of War. You got a lot of good stuff coming out for Gears of War 3 and Gears of War 4. The Torque Bow product development. What's going on with that?
Go ahead.
You want to take that one? Or
Oh,
No,
boy.
go ahead. Yeah, I talked enough already.
Yeah, so I mean, Gears of War, we're back with Gears of War. It all started back in 2008 with Gears of War, and we just came off the collector's edition where we had two versions. One was standard, which was global, and then another one, which was variant, which was an Amazon exclusive. And we've had the Torque Bow out there for quite some time now. There's definitely been some product development engineering fun that's been going on with it because if you haven't seen it, if you go on our website or if even you just look up Gears of War Torque Bow, it's not a small pistol. This thing is 42 inches in height. It's 30 something inches long. When you have it in your hand, it weighs about 45 pounds. It has LED technology built inside of it. Obviously you have to worry about
Can
packaging.
you get it at a gun show?
No, but I'm
There's
sure
laws for that.
there's customs when it comes into the country. They love us. There's flags going up and everything everywhere. You know, what company are we today? No, it definitely has been a process, but we've been able to work it all out. You know, packaging and polyfoam so that it doesn't, UPS or FedEx when they throw it, it doesn't break. We've definitely gotten into a point where we're looking at second
Q2,
early
Q2 2017
yeah.
release date. It's been a long time coming, and it's finally at the finish line. And I know a lot of Project Triforce customers. It's sort of like I think the longest outstanding product that people have been saying like, hey, where is this thing? And we're just sorry. It was just it was a bear to engineer more so than anybody ever thought. But it's also cool as hell. And it's almost done. So
Look, cool takes time, right?
Right, yeah. And nobody ever remembers when it comes out on time. People remember when it's great.
This is true.
So it was a little bit longer than what we wanted, but we're finally at that final stage now where we can say, you know what, this thing isn't going to fall apart when we ship it, and it looks awesome. So it just took us longer to get there. So we're excited about that, to get that one off our plate, because out of as Matt said, Gears of War, built the company, and that was sort of the thing that we've always been waiting to deliver upon to sort of make it to the fans. They've gotten everything else. They got their Lancer, they got their Hammerburst, they got their snubs,
they
got their
collector's editions.
they got their Locust busts, but this is finally wish fulfillment for them.
See, I love when guests segue into questions for me, which is great. So it built the company. John, I know you're kind of relatively new at Project Triforce.
I am.
But Matthew, how long have you been there, and how long has the company been around in general?
The company's been around since 2008. I've come on around. Actually, it's been right over about.
And by the
5
way, you
years.
are very handsome. We have at Andy1, I think, is who just joined. I don't know who that is,
Pleasure, Andy.
but very handsome.
Thank you.
You got a lot of hearts and thumbs up.
I like it. I've been there since 2005. Like I said, 2011-ish. I've been there.
I was gonna say 2005. We were still at Wizard at that point. Actually, you weren't even there. You weren't even there.
Yeah, I was still at Best Buy.
Blink and you'll miss my tenure at Wizard. It was not long, but
We'll get into a little Wizard-related news when we go spinning the racks in segment 4, which is our weekly news segment. It's kind of another more shocking
Crazy.
news, not more shocking news. So, but yeah, anyway, so you've been around since 2015, you said?
2011, been there
2011.
for about 5 years. I pretty much was one of the first guys there, and being able to see it grow from a company where I was working on 3 licenses at the time. It
Yeah.
was Gears of War, Mass Effect, and shortly when I came on, then it was Batman. Now I think we were going it the other day, it's 25 somewhat licenses.
Mm-hmm.
We have about 30 somewhat products on our website, and looking at our calendar for next year, going back to it, we have the Torque Bow
Mm-hmm.
finally coming out, but it's not like, okay, we're getting that out there. It's what's next for Gears. We
Sure.
got a lot of cool things in the pipeline for Gears that we're going to be announcing before the end of the year, and it's definitely going to be cool for the next couple months, years down the line.
So you guys just moved into new offices. I mean, you're really expanding. At what point in your run did you all of a sudden, start to feel the momentum where this thing is growing from, you said the initial 3 employees or 3 licenses, whatever the case is, to something, as big as you guys have made it now?
When I got out of my shed, no. Rob, smoke signals to try to get a signal to him. No, I would probably say about 2.5, 3 years ago. Obviously obtaining the Batman license and re-upping it is big. It's, Batman transcends. Yes, there's Gears of War, which we love, Halo, which we love. That transcends as well. But once you get something like a Batman or potentially something that we're working on right now with Marvel, there's something about it. It's outside of video games. It's comic books. It's movies. Even though you're doing the Batman cowl or the Batarang from Batman Arkham City or Arkham Knight or whatever it is, it's still Batman.
Yeah.
You get these people, I have all these cowls, the Tim Burton Batman, I have the Adam West cowl, but you guys, this cowl's awesome, LED lights, it's not on a stick, this is awesome, let's do it. So probably around 2.5, 3 years ago when a lot of projects were going on at a time, and
you're getting massive hearts on Periscope.
I'm really.
You're like a heart. You're like a heart throb right now. This is pretty exciting.
Is my wife on there? No.
It's very possible. If not, you got a new one if you want.
Yeah. So that's really when it happened. When we really, I guess, sunk our feet into obtaining more licenses, getting these crazy ideas that are these torque bows out to the market and out to the world. And these having multiple collector's editions at once, and doing some asset creation also for video games as well. That was, that was when it was like,
is a video game different than a video game?
Yeah,
I was going to point it out.
I just pulled a Marone. It's a Maronism. That's what it is.
As the host, I have to point that out. We're talking with Matthew Marone and John Peretti from Project Triforce. They do they just do the coolest video game merch around, but, you're doing now merch for Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed is going to be a big time movie. You got Michael Fassbender coming out. What do you guys think? Well, first of all, what do you guys think of the movie coming out, and tell us how you're all connected with that?
It's a shame to say it like this, but it's going to be what I truly do think from everything I've seen and everything. It's going to be the best video game movie adaptation, and I say it's a shame to say that because it's a good movie.
Yeah,
and that's whenever you get video game movie, you're always going to hear that. That's what World of Warcraft was or was supposed to be or is. It was going to be this best video game adaptation movie. No, this is a good movie. Plus I would pay to see Michael Fassbender, popcorn. I don't know, but it's Fassbender.
What's cool about it is it's also like a different take of your typical video game movie, where it's not actually an adaptation of a video game. It's in line with the stories of the video game. So they're not adapting, a previous installment. This is actually an installment in the Assassin's Creed series, in the Assassin's Creed story. So that's a cool spin on it. So, we'll see. I think it looks cool. I think our statue looks cool.
Yeah. How much access to the film do you get? Because obviously you're working on the merchandise that goes along with it. So are you tapped into scripts? Are you tapped into first looks? How deep does the company get? And what can you show us right now on the air right tonight?
Well, my cell phone, which is gold right now. No, I think any licensee will say that you definitely get to see some cool things. If depending on how well the developer, there's some things that you will definitely spoil for yourself.
Sure.
And you will punch yourself in the face for it sometimes. But the team over at Ubisoft have been fantastic for us. We started about 1.5 years ago working with them on Syndicate. We have a Jacob statue that everyone is loving right now. And we have Aguilar. We may be doing something with a Blu-ray or DVD release coming out with them. And Ubisoft has been fantastic, and we've been able to see the process of them bringing this up throughout from the ground up, essentially, and having access to that and seeing things before it came out and just saying, "Oh my God, the reaction is going to be amazing." It's definitely been cool. Do we know everything? No, but the things that we have seen and we do know makes us very, very excited for this.
Very cool. All right, when we come back, because we're going to commercial break, we are going to talk a little bit more, actually. I want to know more about the Project Triforce. They actually work hand in hand with some of the video game developers. We want to learn more. And as always, this is a call-in show, so if you'd like to call in, 877-480-4120. And don't forget, you can chime in on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire, and our Periscope feed @Michael_Dolce. When we come back, more Project Triforce. And we're also going to get a little bit Doctor Strange with our guests, because it's all related.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Hi, this is Rob Kay,
And I'm Callie Alpert.
and we're hosts of The Rob and Callie Show. Are you looking for a show that talks about real stuff like life, love, the pursuit of being yourself?
Then you have come to the right place because we cover topics ranging from chivalry to gratitude to your relationship with money and everything in between.
So listen to us on The Rob and Callie Show, Tuesdays, 8 to 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on talkradio.nyc.
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. We got our number one troll, Fecaleon. Fecaleon is actually how I think you pronounce it, which I don't even care. But he just chimed in. I hate you. You're awful. I need a life.
Fair.
That's you gotta love the inward thinking that all of our trolls do.
At least he's being honest.
Or she, right? We don't even.
honest.
That's
It works.
very sexist of you.
Yeah,
You're a
my
sexist
name's
for
Donald
just
Trump.
assuming assuming that. We are Secrets of the Sire. We do this every week. We talk comics, movies, TV, music, and pop culture. Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, and Talking Alternative. We also do this is a Facebook stream on Facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire, and we also do this on Periscope at Michael_Dolce. And then every Friday we go on to iTunes and blast the entire world with our podcast as well too. So if you like what you're listening to, or if you don't like what you listen to and you like to troll what you listen to, that's cool too. Just support us. Go to the Patreon page. MichaelDolce.com will take you right to the Patreon page. $2 patrons get a copy of the show outline before we go to air. $5 patrons get an exclusive feed. $1 patrons get to be shouted out on air. So it's pretty cool stuff, and definitely check us out. We have the fine folks from Project Triforce on. We have Matt and we have John Peretti. So welcome you guys as well too. This is our third segment. See, it's not so bad. You guys, we talked about a little
fun, man. A lot
election.
of fun.
Did you say earlier Steve Hovecki was an EP of the show?
Steve Hovecki is an EP of the show.
Good for you, Steve.
So full disclosure.
Congratulations.
Full disclosure. John and I worked together at Wizard, and we've actually known each other for a while. Actually, we were coming and going. I was leaving when
I came and went fairly quickly.
Yeah, we're going to get into that in the fourth segment because we've got some Wizard related news that we're going to do when we go spinning the racks, and I'm
Christian
sure
came early.
The funny thing is that John and I have opposite experiences when it comes to this particular individual in the news. So it'll be fun to hear.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is he can't give me a free table at any of the shows anymore. So what good is that now? But we were talking Project Triforce. We were talking about the Gears of War. We were talking about Assassin's Creed, especially. What's like you guys talked about the torque bow being like the coolest thing that you're looking forward to. But what previous product was like what license? You talk about the Batman license. Like what product puts you guys just they're like a buzz in the office or excitement, something where as a fan you're like, holy crap, this is awesome.
For me, I'm a big gamer, so any license we obtain, it allows me to harken back to something back in the day. When we obtained the Doom license, I was like, this is one of the first games that I ever played on PC, and this was the first thing that really gave me a multiplayer online experience. There was Unreal Tournament, which is still an amazing game, but when we got the Doom license, I'm like, I need to make a chainsaw or a BFG. I need that in my life. I have no idea where I'm putting them, but I need this in my life. Back to DC, when we got the Injustice license, just having the idea of potentially doing something with Superman, but then creating this obscenely big and awesome Green Arrow arsenal that we're still trying to figure out how we're fitting into people's rooms was really cool also. I don't know. What about you, John?
Well, for me, it's a little different because, as Mike alluded to earlier, I'm fairly new to Triforce. I've worked at Marvel for 9 years. And I knew Rob from actually before my time at Marvel. And we had always sort of kept in a close friendship over the years. And in the past year, he started talking to me. He's like, "Hey, I'm expanding. I need a sales guy if you want to come over." And so we talked about it for a year. So I really didn't start full time at Project Triforce until this past August. And as Matt can tell you, a lot of this stuff conceptually takes a long time in development, and a long time in coming to fruition. So I actually really haven't seen a brand new product come through the office yet. I've basically, have worked in selling in, a little bit of product that is coming in about a month or so, but I haven't actually gotten that full-on reveal of brand new yet.
I think it just one of the coolest things was when we obtained the Last of Us license, because, I mean, obviously, hindsight, it was, it came out of nowhere, and it's amazing. Who knows what the people in Naughty Dog are doing now that, man down, that Uncharted, is apparently done with, but when we got the license, we were like, we know something's here. So does Sony, so does Naughty Dog, obviously, or they wouldn't be making it. And we're like, we have something here. And creating a statue that sold out within 24 hours, resold out another 24 hours later. Kotaku does an article saying, buy it yesterday for $120 or buy it today for over $900. It was really incredible. So that was one of the cooler things. And getting a license, but right as soon as it hits or right before it hits, so you're right on the train, and knowing that it was going to be that massive is always something that's really cool.
Now, you guys do not just obviously the merchandise, but you're actually kind of heavily involved in some of the game design development as well too. So just talk about that real quick. I mean, as much as you obviously can say.
We have 3 buckets, or more professionally, 3 pillars. The standard product, which you talked about, the Torque Bow, the Aguilar statue, things of that nature. Collector's editions, go out and buy a video game for $60 or buy a video game for $100 and up that comes with some type of statue, some type of metal case and some secondary items, patches, things like that. Those are our 2 front-facing portions of our business, and then one of the back-facing ones or back-end ones is digital asset creation. And though I can't go crazy into it, as we've been lucky enough over the past few years to work with some game studios and creating concepts and 3D assets for them, or collaborating is a better word, that end up making it in the game, and it's really cool because not trying to give away the secret sauce here, but being able to do that really allows us to focus out 3 or 4 years from now, because we're working on titles that no one knows that it's coming out. And give us
one right now. Just tell us right now. No, right now. Just do it. I'm telling you, you won't get in trouble. I'm telling you, you'll be totally fine.
And I'm fired. I was the longest.
How is Best Buy looking right
now? Being able to be that end-to-end solution, saying that we'll concept something, we'll 3D model it. Hey, since we 3D modeled it, let's take that model and turn it into a statuary, or a weapon replica, or something like that. And let's bring this into a collector's edition. It's very unique, and it is a fun process. And
very
really,
smart. Rob knew what he was doing.
Yes, he did. Very smart,
which is very surprising as well. If you've ever met Rob, it's really amazing.
Yeah, Rob's like, we can do concept art. Yeah, we're good. Matt, do we have anyone that can? Yeah. You could draw, Matt, right? Come on, man. Stick figures don't count.
So you guys actually had a really big spread at New York Comic Con too.
We did.
What do you guys think of the convention experiences? And we're going to segue into some fun stuff because we got some cool movies that are out and stuff like that. But first, the convention experiences. What do you guys think?
So I'm a germaphobe, and usually not a big fan of them. New York Comic Con is interesting because I remember, it's the only con that, at least so far in its relatively young lifespan, I've been able to go to all the shows to. And, I think the first year I went as a fan. Second year I went with Wizard. And then the rest of the years I was there with Marvel. And then this year with Triforce. But I've never actually had to actually plan and execute the booth. I was always a guy that went there and,
threw you into the ring of fire.
Yeah, had the meeting
very
or whatever.
quickly.
Yeah, and then I come in to Triforce, and within like a month left, they're like, "Oh, hey, we need somebody to plan a booth." And I was like, "All right." And you can do that. I'm like, no, probably not. But so I did it.
Vote of confidence.
So that was a cool experience. It was something I never got to do before. It was actually the back end of a convention, as in terms to just being on the floor there, being the guy that brings it. I learned what drayage was.
Yeah.
I got to deal with some of the finer unions in New York City for the first time, which was a lovely experience. So
They're very polite,
right? Yeah, and
can't see me. See again, great radio. I'm actually like rolling my eyes as I
and
do
the
it.
fees
It's fantastic.
The fees are super reasonable as well. So that was cool. It was like my first brand new experience with Triforce was being asked to pull off a booth planning. So that was, I think.
Well, now you can handle
Matt,
anything,
did I do
right?
okay? I thought
You
it
did
was all right.
fantastic. I
Thank
would
you
give
very
you
much.
a happy face sticker.
Nice.
Do you guys think you, especially now? I mean, you've been at every New York Comic Con. Now, New York Comic Con still had a good buzz to it, but I was at San Diego this year. I was at a bunch of different conventions, and I felt like it wasn't as crazy as it's been in years past.
San Diego's a different monster, though.
Right.
San Diego
But
is
see,
a different
San
monster.
Diego though. This was my recap of San Diego though. Hey, so I had an exhibitor booth for my comics that I was selling and stuff like that, and I was basically like, hey, I always go. I am a plug machine here. Okay, this Sire thing up here.
Where are you on issue 5?
No, we're in issue 10, dude.
Oh, geez,
It's
okay.
huge. We doubled our output. I was in San Diego, and I said to the guy that I do these do the shows with. We usually share booths, and I'm like, hey, I need to go get a sandwich. And 20 minutes later, I was back with a sandwich. That shouldn't
That's
happen.
unheard of. Yeah,
That should not
It's 2
happen in
hours.
San
Your
Diego.
booth should
Right.
be picked clean.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, right. Exactly. I should be gone for like 3 hours. I shouldn't be
Right.
able to walk through, but I was able to walk through, and I felt like all the buzz was just not
This is
there.
too convenient.
Right. And even New York Comic Con to an extent, I felt like now we think our opinion on the show is we think it's a repercussion of the movies just weren't as good this year as in years past.
Interesting. You think it's
What do you
all
guys
movie
think?
related?
I think it has to be, right, because I think the conventions now you're getting a lot of people. I mean, these are not comic book conventions anymore. I mean,
No, they're not.
No, they're not.
the day of the comic book artist stealing
Which
the
is
show is
interesting
over.
because in its peak, like when New York Comic Con took off like wildfire, that was the thing. It's like, oh, this is what San Diego used to be.
Right.
But now it's like back to comics, and how quickly that just took off. It was like, oh, we enjoyed that for 2 to 3 years, and now it's back to kind of a mini San Diego.
So, speaking of the movies of the year, what did you guys, if you had to rank the top movies, let's go Deadpool, Batman v Superman, Civil War, and Doctor Strange.
Those are my only
We can
picks.
put Suicide Squad in there if you want. Well, the top superhero, the big superhero ones. What would you rank 1 through 5?
I would definitely put Civil War #1 for myself.
Okay. Matthew's shaking his head here. What do we got now? Are you Batman v Superman? Because I know you're a DC guy. So okay.
And let me say this. Let me preface this. So I worked at Marvel, like I said, for 9 years. I am too mainly a DC fan. Growing up, DC was
That's quite
my
the
jam.
contradiction.
Yeah, and DC was my jam. Batman was my guy, and I loved DC comics growing up. But I read Marvel, but I was mainly just a DC guy. Their universe is by far has always been my preferred universe, and that's pretty common throughout the industry. You would find a lot of people at Marvel are mainly DC fans. A lot of people at DC are mainly Marvel fans. But at the end of the day, you're all comic book fans, and that's why you're all doing what you're doing because it's the levels of hatred really only exist at like a top
Sure.
levels of the company.
Sure.
Yeah, and everybody else is just
Everyone else is pretty
Yeah.
cool with each other.
So because of that, personally, I wasn't a big fan of the New 52 and the reboot, and that didn't have anything to do with like the fact I was working at Marvel at the time and we were competing because. Really healthy business. If people are going
Sure.
to comic shops to buy DC books,
It's a great
we're
thing.
more than likely to sell Marvel books as well. So we really never, I never, when I was at my tenure there, basked in their, when they were sort of on their downturn. I just never took to the New 52, and because the new DC movie universe is heavily inspired by the New 52 and not the DC universe that I identify with.
Sure.
It's just, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. It just rings not true to me.
Okay.
And so
now,
that's
Matthew, we were talking before we went on though. Doctor Strange was actually pretty freaking cool because if I had to choose between Doctor Strange and Deadpool, I'd put Doctor Strange ahead of Deadpool personally.
Doctor Strange was a Marvel movie that wasn't a Marvel movie for me. The story, the acting into it, the pace, outside of, as John said off air, outside of Guardians of the Galaxy, to me, it was probably, Winter Soldier was actually my favorite Marvel movie. This was probably second, and then Guardian of the Galaxy third. There was just the graphics, the way they brought the world in. It was just very unique, uplifting, fun. The pacing, people can critique the first act or whatever. I really like the pacing of the whole movie. It was a fun ride.
Yeah.
It was definitely a fun ride. But back to your original question, Batman vs Superman #1.
Okay.
Number 2 would be Doctor Strange. Number 3 would be Deadpool, and that's a flip of the coin for me because they're both really good movies, in my opinion. 4 would actually be another flip of the coin. I enjoyed X-Men Apocalypse.
Oh yeah, I didn't even rank.
Was it Days of Future Past? No,
put
but
that in there.
I still enjoyed it. And then I would do Suicide Squad last.
All right. When we come back, he's going to defend his Batman v Superman choice. And we're going to go spinning the racks. A Wizard World executive is being sued for $1 million after getting fired. And I wonder what John Peretti's going to think about that.
Weird.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Are you into comics, movies, and pop culture at large? What about music and TV? Then you're in for a treat. This is Michael Dolce, your host on TalkingAlternative.com. I've been professionally writing comic books, screenplays, and music articles for almost 15 years. Catch my show, Secrets of the Sire, at its new primetime slot, Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and get the inside scoop on the pop culture universe you love to talk about. For more info, go to secretsofthesire.com.
TalkingAlternative.com.
All right, welcome back. Secrets of the Sire. Brand new day today, everybody. Brand new day. I hope we've been a welcome distraction from all the... yeah, it is, right? I know, brand new night. I hope we've been a good distraction from all the election talk. We did actually cover some of the election.
As we talked about elections.
As we talk, well, we gotta address the elephant in the room, right? The elephant. Is it the donkey or the elephant? Which one's the Republican? They're the elephant, right?
The elephant,
so they gotta address the elephant in the room. But we got John Peretti and we've got Matthew Marone from Project Triforce, and the best part about anything that's related to video game stuff is it's all kind of pop culture related. There's movies, TV. We're all comic book fans. We're all movie fans, the comic book universe. So we were talking last segment about our top movies of the year. Personally, Doctor Strange was phenomenal. I actually saw it today. It was outstanding. John's going to have to see it at some point.
Yeah, 3D or regular?
Regular.
Yeah,
okay. Regular. Now, to be fair, that looks like a 3D movie that would be like a phenomenal one to do.
I haven't seen it in the IMAX 3D, but I plan on hopefully going this weekend to see it because I did see it regular. So okay. I'm holding off, but everyone is saying it. From everything I saw, it definitely it makes sense.
If you're going to see a 3D movie where things are literally, the entire set is coming at you, it totally makes sense. But now, is the only reason Batman v Superman just because you loved seeing the characters up there?
I am probably a little bit biased because I have been a Superman fan and I loved Man of Steel. I'm probably one of the 10 people that like Superman Returns. But for every issue that everyone said, whether it's dark and whether it's this, to me, it was people trying to compare it to something, which is they are trying to compare it to either the Christian Bale movie, they're either trying to compare it to the Marvel Universe, or they're trying to compare it to good old Tim Burton and Brett Ratner, but let's not go into that one. It's if you take it what it is, you sit down and you watch the movie. In my opinion, cinematography is great, the acting is great. There is a story behind it. You do have to watch Man of Steel, and then it kind of branches out into it. Like every movie, it's not perfect. The freaking laptop that magically has the Wonder Woman logo and the Flash logo and everything.
He's got graphic designers working behind the scenes.
There are things like that.
Did he hire Project Triforce to develop all the cool stuff that goes around it?
It's very possible. Artists were doing. That's what working for LexCorp.
You could picture Rob Barasevic actually talking with Bruce Wayne, and he'd be like, "Yeah, we got that. We got that.
This is what you need." Matt, do we have anybody that can
Rob and Bruce would definitely be best friends.
Yeah, they'd be pulling that tire together in the basement, working out.
I mean, that's the thing, though. It was, for my take on it was a great first hour of a movie. It was a great Batman movie in the first hour, minus all the killing, obviously, because it's not what he does. And then having it somehow become a Superman movie.
I mean, honestly, Batman kills somebody in every single movie except Batman and Robin, which is.
Well, they kill the audience's eyes if you actually see that movie.
I mean, to be fair, and I love, because I remember being 6 years old and going to see the Tim Burton Batman movie. Yeah. And by that time, I don't know how it happened, but I was already a Batman fan by that time, which was odd.
Well, that's the brand of Batman. You guys talked about it too, having that license. I mean, it transcends comics. It transcends all that stuff.
So, growing up, I have an affinity for the '89 Batman movie. And it's tough to defend because, I mean, he pops out a bunch of machine guns and lights up the Joker's goons from the Batwing at the end. So, I mean, how do you justify that? But I was a kid and I loved it. So, I do. It is sort of ironic for me to crap on Batman versus Superman and say, he's bashing people's heads in when he's done that before in other movies.
Did it deserve a 25 or 28 or something 20 Rotten Tomato?
Yes, it did.
I hate both of you.
Yes, it did. And I'll tell you, I'll tell you exactly why. Especially, wait. This is my show. You can't actually, and I don't work for you guys, which actually that's like 2 thumbs up for me. No, one of the reasons I can definitely say it wasn't good though is again it was a very good first hour if they just stuck with that plot and just kept it that way, and then they had to somehow have a Lex Luthor that was really the Joker, or he was trying to play the Joker because that's essentially what he did. And you had Doomsday. You had like 8 comic book stories merged into one.
There are things though,
and the Justice League.
There are things that I like about I like as Bruce Wayne.
Love it.
As Bruce Wayne, I
love it.
I really dig him. I love Cavill as Superman, and
no problem with him.
Gal Gadot, fine. I didn't understand.
I like her.
I didn't understand why. I don't think you have enough to lose your mind over her like everybody did. When it was oh my god, Wonder Woman's on. It was hey, she's cool, but
right.
Let's wait till the movie. Okay, and so I find there are things in it. I feel bad. I feel bad really ripping apart any movie because it goes back to it's hard work to do anything, and so it's
you can't. No.
No. I agree because then I'll
that's just making excuses.
But then I will then very well go off on my rant of we accept subpar entertainment, and that's why we get subpar movies, and
we accept subpar candidates, and look where we are now. See, see that? Look how
falls into my cynical.
Sam, it's all full circle. See how it comes. Yep. Sam, we start off the show with election. We go. No. We're gonna
I'm pumped for Affleck's Batman movie. I'll say that.
That one I think is gonna be. I think it's gonna be tremendous.
Yeah.
You have a single voice. You have a voice that has the weight to kind of say what he's going to do and do what he's going to say.
But there's already controversy with that one. It's DC just can't get away from this right now.
Well, yeah.
It's just come on, can you just get one movie out of the way without any... Well, actually, I guess that would be Wonder Woman, because Justice League isn't, because now it's more light and not heavy, I guess you could kind of go with, or whatever it is.
Well, that's the problem with it, though, right? DC is so fickle with, well, we need dark. And Deadpool was a success and Batman wasn't. We need to go light. Let's reshoot Suicide Squad.
I will say they definitely did. It's out there. I mean, they definitely tried to not be Marvel, but in doing so, I can see how they shot themselves in the foot in that aspect. If you want me to get into Suicide Squad, I can go all day on that one.
We're going to welcome you back. Yeah, we'll get you back on.
It's a whole nother conversation.
I'll sum up. It was the problem with New 52, which I think sort of perforates the DC movies for now, is that New 52 felt like it was DC's way of trying to be Marvel, and what made DC great was that they weren't Marvel, they were DC.
Yeah.
So, be your own thing. Don't try to emulate something that you think is successful.
Let's see what happens next year when every 2 months, I think, we have another comic book movie, or 2 in the same month. It's going to be next year is going to be a lot of interest.
That's actually something we've talked about too, and talking about the comic book movie bubble bursting, because that's a lot. It's an oversaturation. I mean, back you had Marvel doing this thing, and just like anything that's great, people are going to copycat it, and they're going to do it, and not that DC is necessarily copycatting, but they're essentially copycatting the blueprints.
But are they? Because it's the only way the movie should be. Like what Marvel did, it was cool in that it was the first time it wasn't even really the first time it's been done. Plenty of entertainment movies and films have done this before. Star Trek's been doing it since they created Next Generation. They've had a shared universe, basically. A lot. This has existed in many forms before, but Marvel did it in the first time. And it's this is just like the comic books. We have a shared universe, and if DC wanted to maintain, they had no choice but to. It's hard to say they copied it because it's natural. It's what the universe has to be.
Sure.
So I would never really ping them for that. I can't believe they didn't do it before. I mean, they had a 20-year jump on Marvel making theatrical movies.
Yeah, but
they had Superman in one hand, Batman, and it wasn't.
But they didn't know the blueprint. That's the problem. They didn't know that Marvel did something that nobody else did,
and which is why they get all the credit in the world, because Warner Brothers had both Superman and Batman. They had you just peanut butter on one hand, jelly in the other, smash them together. Marvel had to go through the thing of like New Line has Iron Man, Sony has Spider-Man, Fox has X-Men, and they never figured out the Fox thing. Universal has Hulk. They had to clear up all of that crap to DC had it. Warner Brothers had it for 20 years earlier.
Well, that's another great segue. See, talking about a company that had it all. Say It Ain't So, Norman Reedus, Comics Beat, actually originally reported by the New York Post, though. Last week, convention company Wizard World fired their chief marketing officer, Stephen Shamus, and they filed suit against him. The suit alleges that Shamus used his position to obtain more than $1 million worth of signed memorabilia and collectibles from Wizard World guests, which he then sold on the side, a sweet setup for some extra cash, if true. According to the suit, Shamus was in charge of relation with the nerd-lebrities and negotiated money-losing deals with celebrities who appeared at Wizard World, seeking to get guests who would have the most valuable autographs at any cost, causing Wizard World to lose even more money. Full disclosure, John and I worked at Wizard. We both worked under Stephen Shamus at some point, and we both had equally opposite experiences. But John, what do you think about all this?
So, to be fair, I don't even really say that I worked there because it was so short.
Yeah.
I came in really at a bad time in the company.
Stephen blamed the Captain America 25 on you, though, right? I mean, this is this was the
So it is Well, all right. Let's not get into the minutiae. My experience there was not. People came out of that place having pleasant experiences and unpleasant experiences. I had an unpleasant experience.
Yeah.
So goes life.
Yeah.
I got over it. It ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me. I left there, and I ended up working at Marvel for almost a decade. Or I was much happier. The good thing about Wizard is I met a lot of great people there, like Rob, like you, Ricky, Keith.
He has to say that because he's like in my studio right now.
I met a really. I didn't single out just you. I did other people as well. So, all right. So. Probably a lot of factors went into people who were sort of there around my time not having a good, and you knew it because you got
Absolutely.
you got out the right time.
Yep.
So,
writing on the wall.
Right. So, personal issues aside, like, was I surprised when I saw this? Is like, you hear a lot of stuff there or whatever. I don't know how they prove this though.
Right. Well, I guess
but like you're saying, hey, you intentionally tanked this company for your own benefit. Like, if I'm his lawyer, it's like, no, the defense is no, he just sucked at his job and he got some stuff signed. Is that a crime? It's like, personally, regards of like what I think really happened. I don't know. I don't see where there's.
I can't see him intentionally tanking the company just for his own personal gain.
I mean
that's exactly what it comes down to. Right. So I totally agree with that.
And you know what? And oddly enough, Steven and I had a lot of dealings later in my time at Marvel.
Yeah.
And it was totally fine.
That's the funny thing. And it was funny too because a lot of people did work under him, and I was one of those people. But he and I always got along. He let me work from home one day a week. There was a trust there, right. And I had a great experience. And he actually helped me get Sire off the ground because he would give me advertising for free, and it was great.
Well, there were a lot of extenuating circumstances of things going on in that company around the time when I came in there. So I don't really, honestly, it's so far along. And like I was not happy there when I was there, but it's so long ago. I got over it.
How many days did Rob work from home?
Oh my god, our lunches were epic.
On that
2
note,
hours long.
On that note, I want to thank Matthew and I want to thank John. Real quick, ProjectTriforce.com. Where do we go to get all this cool stuff?
ProjectTriforce.com is our website. At Project Triforce is our Twitter, and look up Project Triforce on Facebook. We have newsletters, we have giveaways, we talk about fun stuff, and
sort of went
we'll
dark
have
for a little bit.
More.
We were trying to get a lot of stuff out. Now we're going live again.
Awesome.
Interacting with everybody, and all
right, I want to thank you guys, definitely. Next week, we actually welcome Hassan Godwin from It Came From the Radio and his partner as well, too. And signing off, we'll see you next week in the brand new world.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.